Hello world, welcome to my channel, Proteus Augustus. I'm an artist, scientist, and American Constitutionist. And I just had enough of what I've been seeing the past couple of days with the uprisings for the Palestinians. I mean, these Gazan people or these Palestinian people are not what the problem is. It's a political party. See, this is how political parties destroy the world, right? And you know what? I am strong enough to say to the whole world something that newscasters, Republicans, other people are just too gentle to say. Listen, Biden and his family are traitors to the American people, right? What you're seeing in Washington, D.C. today is a plan. The open borders isn't just about getting wage slaves, right? It's about letting other people come in here to tear down the strength of the American people. What the communists don't understand, and these globalists, is that men like me in this country will fight for our freedom. You do not control us. We're Americans, man. There's plenty of us out here, and you're not going to take over this country. You're not going to make us slaves, right? That's not going to happen. You know why? Because we own stuff, right? Unlike the communists and these Palestinian people and all these other crybabies that come to America to tear us down. Right? I mean, this is insane. Mayorkas is a traitor to the American people. He needs to be locked up and imprisoned. Biden needs to be taken out of office, right? And, Garland is another traitor to the American people, right? He's locking up old ladies, veterans, didn't prosecute the guy who shot a woman through the door, a veteran. Listen, if a person shoots somebody through a door and kills them, at a minimum, that's manslaughter. Why was that guy allowed to walk away? Why do they get to act like children? Why do they get to say that they were afraid and not meet any standard required and applied to any citizen such as myself? Right? Because the whole thing is about communism, right? Communism does not rely on any individual freedoms, right? It's all about a certain class of people dominating other people. They call it communism, they call it Islam, they call it socialism, they call it theocracy. Take your pick. All of these groups of people are essentially political organizations. The Catholic Church is a political organization. It's not a religion. It isn't. They don't follow the path of Christ, right? And I'll call out the Pope on that any day of the week. That's why I could not confirm myself a Catholic. I'm not going to join a church that burns people at the stake, because they won't believe in Christ, right? That's not Christian. Christ said, some people will accept me and some people won't, right? You have to accept Christ into your soul. Putting a cross on your chest, right? And going to church, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. It's every day that you walk with Christ that matters, right? And the people that you hold accountable as a man, right? In our society to these values and principles of our Judeo-Christian system, right? That's why they have to attack white guys. That's why they have to attack Christian men. That's why they have to attack Americans, period, that believe in these freedoms. Because these groups of people are not on any spiritual or moral path, right? Like I said many times before, our Constitution of this republic has Jesus all over it. Christ's message through Jesus, right, lives through all of us, right? And that's how we got this country. That's why we got free speech, right? Because Christ stood up to the power, right? He was killed because he told people, no, you're nonsense people, right? You don't really believe in anything but yourselves. You're demagogues. You want to be the gods, right? And so they killed him for that because he called them out, right? And that's what communists are, essentially, right? They're these people that aren't on any spiritual path, right? They don't know how to suffer. They don't understand that the path of Christ is one of suffering, right? Christ, through Jesus, teaches us how to suffer as animals, right? That's what the metaphor of the beast is. I'll say it again, right? A lot of this stuff is a metaphor. It's a way of life for men to pursue goodness and honor, right? Wisdom and personal development so that they can have a good family and raise children, right? That can, carry on our way of life and our freedoms, right? But due to the Soviets getting into our institutions and the fascists that pulled women out of the household and the feminists, all of these attacks on the family, all of these attacks on a spiritual and moral path of development, right? All of this has to be destroyed in men like me, okay, in order for them to dominate the world. I'll give you a perfect example. If you look at Asian cultures, what we call Asians, not the Europeans, but what we call Orientals or whatever you call them, I can even be more specific. They're Mongoloid stock, right? Genetically, right? They infantilize their whole society, the mascots, the cartoons, and that bled its way over into a lot of these women. They walk around like they're cartoon characters, coloring their hair like a doobie doll. Like we used to get at the carnival when we were kids and shit, right? In the 60s, right? When I was growing up, right? These people are like cartoon characters, right? And then so these globalists are all on board, right, with manipulating the minds of the public. And they thought that the information age and this tool that I'm talking to you through right now would be the major way to do that, right? They didn't expect guys like me, which I don't have any power at all, right? I'm just talking. I'm getting more views on YouTube, but, listen, I'm living on this planet. I'm going to use this media to communicate to the world if I can, because I am not long for this world. I could be dead tomorrow. I could get another cancer. I'll be, bang, I'm gone, right? So why not use this media to put a little bit of myself into this psychological ecosystem we call humanity, right? So, and getting back to that, they thought that these instruments would be one of their tools to manipulate everyone. They manipulate a lot of people, but they don't manipulate all of us, right? But to manipulate all of us, they have to substitute Christ, right? They have to substitute the God of Abraham, right? They have to substitute something to take people off of this, right? So they create these characters and these figures of themselves, right? I mean, look at the King of England. Hey, dude, you're not worth much in this world no more, but you got an army, you got an agreement, with the public. But, what are you going to do, right? You're letting the guy over in Canada kill his citizens, which I believe are still your subjects, because that's part of the United Kingdom, right? Aren't you supposed to be the head of state? Or you just like, you're nothing no more, right? I don't even know why they give you any money, right? You're not a Christian man. The King of England is not a Christian man. I don't care if he's a Protestant, Catholic, whatever. To me, a Christian man lives a Christian life, right? You don't go around taking advantage of people, trying to manipulate people for their own ends. I mean, that's what Henry VIII did, and that's what he's got now. Protestant church, he talks to God. He don't talk to nobody. These people are a joke, right? They are a joke. And then we get a guy like Chi who has this personality disorder, who pays off all of these weak men, right? The Democratic Party is so poor that, all of these foreign potentates have just dumped money into it. And I just sit back and I watch all of this happen, right? I mean, listen, this is all predictable, right? What you're seeing in Washington, D.C. today, this Palestinian rally is all predictable. It's all part of it, right? And the Democratic Party is all part of it. That's why Joe Biden came out and asked for a ceasefire. You don't ceasefire a siege, ladies and gentlemen, right? If it was me, Israel should just bury those people. Unfortunately, if they could send their little electronic dogs down there and see if there's any people in there that we could save, that's fine. But you need to bury these goddamn guys. You need to bury them and tomb them in the ground until they're bones, man. And just build over their bones, right? If they made their own tombs, right? And it's about time the rest of the world sees who the big boys are on this world, who the daddy is. Forget about this mommy crap. Everybody's not good. You know, all you gotta do is go on YouTube and look at these interviews of some of these psychopaths, right? You know, luckily they get some of them between the ages of 20 and 25, right? That's when they kind of try to come out. But a lot of them ain't smart enough yet. If they can get past 25, forget about it. You'll have a hard time catching those motherfuckers, right? I mean, she's a psycho, right? These people look at human beings like they're body parts for themselves, right? And, you know, listen, war's going to break out pretty soon, right? I've been saying this for a while. Not because I want any of this, right? But because I have to prepare for it. That's why I watch this world. And especially, listen, right? Without a free society, men like me cannot advance ourselves intellectually. There's no telling what I got up in here. I spent hours, hundreds and hundreds of fucking hours educating my brain. You know, people don't know what I'm doing, right? But listen, it's just a matter of access to stuff sometimes, right? To be able to do more. But the bottom line is, without freedom, a man like me cannot elevate themselves in any way. And these people that are coming over here, all these young men, they're coming over here to take our stuff, right? And the Republicans and the military is letting all of this happen, right? The Democratic Party doesn't have a right to destroy this country because they won an election, right? And if we don't have good enough people in the Republican form of government that we have to impeach this president, Mayorkas and Garland, right, and put them in prison for their demonstrable crimes, right, and you don't state these bill of particulars in the House, then we don't have a country. You're all frauds, man. You're all frauds. You're playing good cop, bad cop on us. Now, some of the Republicans want these people here because they represent big business, you know, the chicken factories and all this other nonsense, right? How is it that we can have slavery in the United States? How is it that we have children that are being forced to work in the United States? Now, I don't have particular proof of that, but I trust my sources, right? This information age right here, this thing here, this thing here, gives me access to people that I can vet based on my education, right? And then I can see, I know who knows what, right? And I can put all of it together. That's my skill. Right? I'm not going to give you every little fact and figure all the time. What I do is I know how the parts work and I try to put them together, right, to see what's going to happen. And China, well, I shouldn't say China, but unfortunately the Chinese people, the CCP, okay, is going to follow through on this plan, right? And they're probably going to attack Russia too, right? Because Russia's a pawn in all of this between the globalists and the CCP, right? This whole Ukrainian war with Russia is a gimmick. It doesn't need, these people live there, they're the same. It's just more white genocide by communists, right? They kill a lot of us, man. And that's why this political party, this Hamas party, okay, needs to be destroyed and put in the books forever. Right? And Mexico, right? You got to watch what's happening in Gaza, right? Because let me tell you something. If I was the president of this United States, I don't even have to do that to you, right? But you wouldn't be Mexico no more. What you've done to this country, you participated in a war on our public, right? You participate in deaths, right? Your government is nothing but a cartel-run bagman. That's all you people are, right? And, it's time that the world sees who has the real power. They want to dominate the world, right? Well, let's get on with it. Because you ain't going to win, right? It ain't happening, right? I mean, Israel can handle all that themselves mostly, right? And the Ukrainian situation with Russia should never have happened anyway. I don't think that Putin's a good man. He's my contemporary. But his worldview is about him protecting his people. And these globalists wouldn't even let him have a little comfort before he died. No, because they are narcissistic and psychopathic. They only have a certain amount of life also. They want this shit to go down while they're alive. They want to realize, the decades of this struggle that they're putting against the white Christian man, right? They want to say that a man like me is a bad man. I'm not a bad man. How am I a bad man by any measure? I'm going to be going over to this federal court, and I'm going to be putting me on trial over at this federal court because people are stepping all over me, stepping all over my rights, treat me like I'm a slave, right? Like I'm some kind of property of theirs. And they're going to find out different, right? But they run around and do the same thing to me they've been doing for years. This just doesn't just start in Colorado, right? I stand up to people, right? I will put you in jail if I can. If the judge is an honest man or woman, when I go to court, it's because I got the goods on people. I got their balls pinned against the wall because they're hurting me. They're infiltrating my private life, right? They're bringing attention to me for whatever reason I know not, right? But, there you have it, right? So when I go down to this court, I ain't afraid to say who I am. No, there's nothing illegal about my posture or what I say. If somebody trespasses on my property or looks in my window, I'm going to say, what the fuck are you doing? I'm not going to, by the time the cops get here, I could be a dead man, right? I'm a man, I'm a man, ladies and gentlemen. I might not have an iron shirt and my beard might be all scraggly, but my mind is, listen, let's do this, right? But anyways, do not stop the siege on Gaza. These political parties need to know the will of the people. The people of Judeo-Christian belief in this world are not going to be defeated by these beasts, because that's what they are. When Christ says, don't accept any false god above me, right? He's talking about the beast. He's talking about all these people that are pushing all of this propaganda on you on a daily basis to control you. I mean, and our government doesn't, these political individuals, these political entities, right, don't even have enough courage to prosecute some of these politicians for their crimes, their COVID crimes, like Cuomo. Why is anybody even listening to that guy? I'm a nobody. But I ain't committed fucking crimes that guy committed on these people, right? This guy committed serious crimes, I mean, even my cat, when my other cat was dying, knew my cat was dying, like I said before. My cat came and told me. Curly's like, dude, this guy's got blood in the fucking litter box. I go over, look, and then, Moby wasn't long for this world. But animals know when other animals are sick, right? And a governor of a state can't even argue some kind of, mental incapacity. It's called depraved indifference because he's a narcissist. These people, whether they're born one or not, I don't know the person individually. But the outcomes, what they're pushing, is all about their own self-aggrandizement, about their own self-promotion, right? And that's how these political parties go corrupt. They'll all go corrupt. All of these political parties will go corrupt. That's why we have to have term limits in America, so that these political parties can't grow enough in power to actually turn on the people that we're seeing today. Because this is what happened. The ambivalence of the Republicans and the sheer psychopathy of the people that run the Democratic Party, right, is what we're dealing with now. What your children are going to have to deal with, right? You know, your children are going to have to deal with all of these people that are protesting and supporting the mutilation of children, the decapitation of bodies, the rape of women and children, necrophilia. All of this is documented, right? There is no God of Islam, okay? Come and strike me dead if you want, but you don't believe in the same Christ that I believe in. Christ is a man of peace and mercy, right? But again, he needs warriors like me, because guys like me don't fight for Christ. There ain't gonna be no Christ, because Christ lives through us, right? It's a struggle of wills. It's a very treacherous ecosystem that we live in. The bodies are just getting us around. We live in this psychological ecosystem, and the public, human beings, have to stop it. Listen, if you could train some guy in Gaza, right? You know, if you could brainwash him into cutting babies' heads off and burying them and all this other stuff, right? Shooting grannies and everything else. If you could train their minds to do that, why can't you train them to be good human beings? Why? Because these political parties know how to manipulate the minds of the common man, right? And they will do that, right? And so when the Soviets infiltrated all of our institutions, it might not have been that much, but it was enough of a seed, right? And then you get all these academics, right? These people also hire themselves. They don't hire competition, right? They don't hire the best person, because the best person might turn out to be an Einstein. These professors, even these physicists, don't want competition, man. That's why they're going around this mathematical fucking nightmare with string theory and all of that. Listen, you guys are never going to know how the universe works. It's impossible for you to know all the energy in the universe, right? You just need to put your head around that, right? And try to control local phenomena to your advantage, right? Learn how to interact with the quantum field, right? Right? Well, a free man can't do that. In a communist world, they're going to pick who they think should be in a position, right? And it's solely based on that person being compensated, right? That they know somebody, so they want their family to have the money. That's all this boils down to in the end, right? But what ends up happening is all of this kinds of hires that you see in our government and in private business, right? These people are not competent. They're not hiring. The people in positions of hiring are not hiring the best they can hire, because a lot of these people are afraid that those people will supplant them, right? So they hire people they think are like a little bit stupider than them, right? And the corporations and the government parties don't demand more of it, because that's how they got into their position. So again, we're in this hierarchy of personality. It's like a cult of personality. It's not based on law, right? Our whole system is supposed to put that aside and look at the elements of the crime, right? And so when I go to court, I make sure I have what I want. All I need is a jurist that knows what the elements of the crime are, and accept the evidence as proven. That's all. And then you go to a jury if the guy wants a jury. It's not difficult. It really isn't. It just takes Americans to do it. Communists want the judgeships, like they want the control of life and death, like a woman has over your children. Right? In America, a man can't even have a family. Women get to decide who lives and who dies. That's not Christian. You know, you don't have to be a tight butthole, you know, Catholic or anything to understand that. You know, I mean, get out of here with that nonsense. But anyways, this is long. But what I want to say is, what you see, I was just looking at what's happening in Washington, D.C. It looks like a lot of people. It really isn't compared to how many there are of us in this country if we have to fight them off. But if these people believe and they support what Hamas did, they are an internal domestic threat to the American population here. And something needs to be done about it soon, before these men get out of control and start attacking us in the streets and shutting our power off and everything else. None of you will have any money and there'll be chaos, right? We need to put a stop to this soon, right? Soon, right? Congress needs to act against this president now. Until next time, think free, be free, and eat free. And I know I was going around in circles there, but it is what it is.